President actually made the statement while he was about the performance contract which he signed with the ministers. He says that, well, perhaps we should just get that report to you. So we'll listen to that and we'll continue our focus on the eye on the media.
Close to 2 years into the Goodluck Sambo administration and 13 years of the return to democracy in Nigeria, many critics of government have said, even in a local parlance, that there is nothing to show. Criticisms that have put the administration on the edge. To make his ministers perform, he has gone beyond the 2012 budget defense to subject them through the rigorous exercise of performance contract signing. One by one, the ministers performed the signing exercise. One would have thought that the president would have asked the ministers to perform or ship out, but he says it is not designed to witch hunt anyone. He says he has created a tradition and that he will use himself and the vice president as an example that will douse all criticism.
Even myself and the vice president, even though we supervise every minister, but there are certain parameters that could be used also. It will also help us, so we also have to develop our own points. Because if a minister is supposed to give me briefings maybe 3 times a quarter, and I'm unable to schedule that minister to give me the 3 times briefing, which is not the fault of the minister, my scores should reduce. So I think it gives all of us targets, and you can assess yourself whether you are really achieving that target. It will not depend on what the newspapers want to write, because the media today is highly politicized.
The whole idea was muted by the Minister of National Planning, who gave the fellow ministers what can be described as a frank talk.
To show how crude budget performance target is. If the Minister of Agriculture today wants to achieve 100%, he could have just settled for what used to happen, which is take most of the money, buy fertilizer, import fertilizer and distribute. Doesn't care whether it gets to the farmer or not. He would achieve 100%. But he has taken on a target to achieve food self-sufficiency, which is much more difficult and obviously to achieve. And that is why, for example, I say, unfortunately, the budget performance target has an adverse incentive to make people rush and spend money without actually asking what is that spending for.
Each minute.
All right, the rest of them are just extras because we actually got what we want, the part where he talked about the media being politicized. Well, Dr. Olubunmi Ajibade joins us now on the phone. He's a senior lecturer in the Department of Mass Communication, University of Lagos. Morning, and thank you for joining us. Well, that comment of the president generating some reaction, of course, in the media. Well, we'd like to get your perspective on that statement, because there are those who wonder when that kind of statement hits the airwaves, it does come across as though it's a blanket statement referring to the media. What do you think about that?
Well, people are entitled to their ignorance. I think...
You mean opinion?
We need to... Again?
You mean opinion?
Yeah, yes. Opinion is... what I mean is that there are many people who speak about the media. They do not understand the dynamics of media operations in terms of ownership, in terms of control, in terms of input and output, and the factors that influence, what the media brings out. I want people to understand that the media do not operate in a vacuum. They operate within the society, and whatever is happening in the society will definitely affect the media, just as the media also affect, whatever is going in the society. There's a kind of relationship between the society and the media. And that's why some media scholars believe that the media reflect whatever is going on in the society.
Okay. Explain this part, because there are lots of people who are not media literate, and so they may need some clarification. And yesterday said, and it's in the books also, one of the factors that influences the media is ownership. Perhaps something that was imported into the textbooks, but could you explain that a little further? What does that actually mean?
Well, ownership is a major factor in media operations. It's not only particular to Nigeria. Ownership and control are major issues that media scholars have been investigating over the years. There is no way that you can remove whatever the media do from ownership influence. For instance, both the private and the publicly owned media, there are some issues that are considered sacrosanct, no-go areas, so to say. Because if I set up my own news medium, I perhaps have some interest, those interests in business, political, social, and all that. I will not expect, my own medium, to harm those interests. It may be direct or indirect control. You understand?
Okay.
Well, the way it is, from the look of things, is it possible that there is some form of corruption as well, bedeviling the media in Nigeria?
Yeah. I don't see any institution in Nigeria that is, insulated from corruption. Talk about the political institution, even the religious institutions, the media. Like I said before, it's a reflection of what is going on in the macro society. Whatever is happening, in the society will definitely impact the media. But where we place professional standards, ethical standards, where there is a high degree of professionalism, the media should be able to resist corruption. But again, you have to look at the environment in which the media operate. For example, economic issues are even more problematic. Look at what happened to Terror magazine, Newswatch magazine. Because he couldn't survive. The management was owing staff months of salaries in areas, and then sell it to a business mongoose. And since then, the magazine has gone on that. These are some of the issues. Some media houses are beginning to do what they're not supposed to do just to survive.
So you do agree with the president then that the media is somewhat politicized?
Sorry, pardon, I can't hear very well. Hello?
Can you hear me? I just asked you, I said, do you agree with the president then that the media is politicized?
I do not totally agree with the president because journalists are not the politicians, but if the politicians themselves that are trying to buy media men for their own selfish interests, we don't play politics in the media. We are professionals. And we have professional standards for determining what is newsworthy according to the needs and the interests of our audience. But politicians who have money and they have their own interests, they try to place media men on their payroll just to, put them in the spotlight all the time. So if the media are politicized, if the politicians made the first moves, and because, like I told you before, the economic environment, is such, is very harsh, and then the media, are trying to survive, and, but that's not an excuse anyway. Right. But I do not agree with the president. There are still media houses in this country that are run purely on professional standards.